Okay, so let me start off by saying that I hope that this video footage isn't going to be upside down the whole way through, because I currently have my phone hanging upside down off of a cupboard, basically, in my bathroom. So, yeah, that's like the only place that I could put it where you can actually like properly see me. This is gonna be my attempt at a get ready with me, I guess. Like, I already showered, put my hair back so that it would not be in the way of me doing this. Well, honestly, I don't know if you can see, but I have very dry skin. It's like flaking on my nose. I've got really dark circles. I've got some redness. It's not like the biggest deal in the world. I typically have some pretty good skin nowadays. When I was younger, I didn't. I did not have very good skin at all. So we're just gonna run with this and hopefully it'll be fine. I'm like, where did my boyfriend move my goddamn makeup? Where's the palette that I'm looking for? Aha! I also want... Oh, here it is. So I'm gonna start off by putting some moisturizer on, just because I haven't done that yet since I got out of the shower. Moisture Bound Refreshing Hydrogel by Amore Pacific. I don't know if that's gonna focus. Focus. There we go. Excuse my dry hands. So I got this from Sephora. I think it was from like some kind of like rewards thing, honestly. I think that's what I got this from, because I don't really buy a whole lot of like face related stuff from Sephora. It's just expensive and I'm not spending that kind of fucking money on my face. Sorry, I'm a poor bitch, but this is something that I got from Sephora and it works well. It says here that it's a refreshing oil-free hydration gel, which is good because I don't know really how to describe my skin, to be honest. Like, I've got the T-zone of oil, of course, and then I have it where it's really dry on my cheeks, which is really, really annoying. And I also have it where it's dry on my nose, even though that's like a prime oil spot. So it's like, what? But whatever. And I'm just gonna dab this. Dab. 420 month. And I'm gonna just put it kind of all over. Not too heavily. And I like just dab like little parts. Just all over like this. Because I want it to have like a bit of an even coverage. Like, I don't want to put like just all over like one side of my face and just have it not spread. Anyway, while I'm doing this, because I'm just like focusing and not fucking talking. One thing that has been of interest to me today that I saw on YouTube, well, two things, actually. One of them was one of Gabby Hanna's most recent videos. And to be completely transparent here, I'm not, like, a fan of Gabby Hanna. I've never been subscribed. I've listened to some of her music. It's not something that I personally go out to actively find and listen to. Like, I've listened to some of it. It's okay. It's whatever. It doesn't sound any different from other pop songs that exist, basically. However, I will say that when it comes to her newest music video that she released for new poetry book that she's releasing, that is actually really good. I will say that. I did really enjoy that song, and I enjoyed the music video and the animation behind it. I thought that was brilliant. Now, I need to sort through and figure out what I'm doing, because I mean, a part of me could do like a full face of makeup, and most people do when they do a get ready with me, but I'm not usually the type of person who does a full face of makeup. I actually often, I don't even have like foundation, concealer, like any of that personally. I honestly just have, if I can get this to focus, I honestly just use Smashbox BB cream. FPS 35, if anybody cares about that. I should have that focus on me again, thank you. And I'm in the fair light kind of department, which, I mean, that makes sense. I'm a fucking Caucasian. What else am I gonna fucking be? I'm debating on whether or not I'm actually going to put some of this on, because honestly, it's meh. It comes off really easily, at least for my experience. Like, if I, like, touch my face to, like, my winter jacket, for instance, and this is on, it just rubs right off. Like, what's the point in having this if it's just gonna rub right off, and I'm not gonna be able to actually have the coverage of camera ready, like it advertises, right? So I may not actually put that on. I do have the Better Than Birthday Sex version of the Too Faced mascara, because I originally had the Better Than Sex mascara that came with the palette that was introduced, that was like a combination between Kat Von D and Too Faced mixing together and collabing. I do have that palette, and I don't remember if this came with it or if it came separately, or it was like released with the palette, but you had to buy it separately. I don't fucking remember, but I do have this, and I definitely really love it. I don't even put fake lashes on. So many people put fake lashes on. Like, I don't personally understand that. I guess if you want to have like a more dramatic look to your face, sure, but I like my lashes just how they are personally. So I also use the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer, just the get that to focus, just the original formula. I find that it works perfectly fine. I don't see the need to change brands or anything. It works for what I want. Oh jeez, I should honestly be way more organized than I am. But anyway, as I was saying about Gabby Hanna and things like that, full transparency, not a fan. But she recently made a video in regards to her first poetry book that she released. Ooh, that was quite a lot. And it actually made a lot of sense in regards to, first of all, why she made that video, and second of all, why her poetry ended up being what it was. A lot of people, including myself at the time, actually didn't like it, thought it was not well done in any way, shape, or form. They knew it was that it was rushed, or that they suspected that it wasn't, properly gone over with a fine-tooth comb by her, and it didn't really seem like she cared for the art form, and was like kind of making fun of it almost. Which, I mean, she was, but she was making fun of a very specific kind of art form that she likes for poetry, which is like silly kids poetry that can hide very mature themes in it. Once she explained like which specific poets and other folks that, like Bo Burnham, that she has always been inspired by and has always like looked up to in regards to like their artwork and things like that, it made a lot more sense as to why she made the book the way she did and why it turned out the way it did. And it's a lot easier to look at it with a fine-tooth comb once you realize what particular kind of lens you're supposed to look at it through. If people were looking at it through a very serious perspective, like most people do when it comes to poetry, because that's kind of the default really, then they would probably not realize that what she was putting out there was more cryptic and couldn't really be taken at face value. Like poetry, you're typically not supposed to take at face value anyway. You're supposed to be looking more deeply into it than what people probably were doing. I did watch like maybe 1 or 2 videos on her poetry, just because I myself saw the book and flipped through it when I was in chapters, which is Canada's form of a Barnes & Noble, I guess you could say. And I like flipped through it, and I was like, some of this stuff is pretty profound. Other stuff I'm like not super into, and I didn't really recognize that it was her that had made and illustrated the book at first, because again, I'm not a fan of Gabby Hanna. I never really was invested in who the hell she was. She just kind of was someone who got popular off of the platform from story times, from my understanding, and then it just kind of built into her music and now poetry career. For full transparency, like, that's kind of like how I've known about her, is just because she's a human that exists on the platform, and I've personally been a lurker on YouTube since I was like, I don't know, 8. I've been a person who's been viewing people on the platform since, like, I don't know, when the Mean Kitty song first came out by an old YouTuber that I believe is now retired from the platform. Last I heard, he moved to Alaska. So, and it looks really pretty there, and he's kind of close by, because I'm in Canada, so Alaska's a hell of a lot closer than all the rest of the states. Not including Washington, I'm like right above Washington State. Or at least my province is. But yeah, she was just talking about how her poetry was meant to be taken, at least for her first book, in a different light than what a lot of people took it as. And she was saying how, like, she could accept constructive criticism, but that some videos that existed out there, like, she just didn't bother clicking because it seemed like it was more for entertainment for other people, and entertainment in the sense of putting down somebody else because they can. Which, are we surprised? No. That's something that's been around for a while now on the platform, and I think a lot of people are personally getting sick of it. Myself included, in a way. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a little bit of drama, who doesn't? But it gets a little ridiculous once it's happening, like, I don't know, every couple weeks? Like, come on, guys. Isn't there something going right in the world that you could talk about for once? So I am going to be using the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. One of them, anyway. Yeah, this one's the Velvet Matte Eyeshadow palette. I don't remember what the other one was, but I do like both. I do like both the palettes. And it does smell like peach. Like, ooh, when you smell it, it smells good. And I, like, that's pretty, like, that's a very minor thing to do for, like, an eyeshadow palette, but I still like it. This one looks a little bit worn down. That one's because I typically do my brows with that. I'm only just recently experimenting with doing that, because, like, I'm kind of iffy about it. Like, brows became just, it's a very recent makeup trend, at least from my understanding, because I'm not super in the makeup thing. I just do it to make myself feel better every once in a while. Like, since we're all in self-isolation, I'm like, I just need to feel pretty. So that's kind of what this is going to be doing for me today. Typically what I do is I tend to go into, like, one of these lighter shades for my base color, because I usually just kind of layer over top of that. I don't know if you're actually supposed to do that per se. Do I really care? No, I'm not a makeup artist, so I think I can do whatever the fuck I want. Anyway, I'm gonna go in with peach butter. Oh, this smell. Now I'm just gonna move it all around. I forgot to put the primer on my eyes. Hold on. So I'm just gonna pretend that I didn't just fucking do that and put my primer on. But yeah, she's also releasing a new poetry book in 3 different with 3 different editions, which I thought was interesting. And they're all getting, like, different kinds of bonus content. She really goes through it in her video, explaining it before she ever gets to the poetry discussion, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that move. Like, obviously she can do whatever the fuck she wants. But, hi, cat that's in heat. Hi. Hi. Yeah, I've got 2 cats. So I don't necessarily agree with that decision. I feel like people like me who were clicking on that video in order to understand, like, have an explanation finally, or a response, I guess, to all the people talking about her poetry and her just not saying anything about it. I think for people like me who are, like, really looking for that more so than another promotion for another book, it would have been better to have that explanation right up front. That way, if you're interested in even, like, having anything to do with her after her first book, then she could talk to you about her second book and all of that stuff. But she didn't do that. Instead, she promotes and talks about her second book for like a good first half of the video. And then the last half is her actually talking about things that actually mattered to what people wanted to know. Not saying that people don't care about her second book, but I'm pretty sure most of us cared about her explanation a hell of a lot more, especially considering a lot of the drama that she's been in recently. So I'm not really going to touch upon that because, like, I'm pretty neutral. I'm on the fence. I think that what happened with Jessie Smiles was inappropriate, to say the least. But to be honest, all we have are screenshots and two sides of two different stories from two different people, and you know, it's kind of it's very much a she said she said situation. And I don't know. For me, I'm just like, I'm not gonna get into it. It was inappropriate no matter how you slice it. The only reason Jessie Smiles even came out and said anything about it was because she felt like she had no choice. And you know what? I can respect that. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about while I'm doing this, which I'm gonna find different things to talk about as I'm doing this, because I take fucking forever doing this kind of shit, because I don't know. I'm not like the most skilled human being on the planet. Surprise, surprise, I'm very average. What are you trying to do? Like, okay, let me just show you what this fucking cat is doing. Like, okay, for the record, this cat's name is Squirrel. She's my boyfriend's. And she's just hanging out in there. Every once in a while, like, putting her paws up on here and just looking at me with the fuck me eyes. Like, first of all, I'm not the right species nor the right sex to do that to you. And the one that is over here, and he's neutered and has been for I don't know how long, because when he was adopted, he was 2 years old, already had his balls chopped, you know, all 9 yards, all taken care of. So it's like, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm not gonna do nothing for you. I'm sorry. Like, you're all horny all on your own. So if you hear a whole bunch of cat noises, it's mostly gonna be her. But anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? Right, the second thing I wanted to talk about. Oh no, I scratched. So this is what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see, but I scratched right here. And it's already like kind of patchy because I scratched and it came off, and it's like, if I would just use foundation, I probably wouldn't have this issue. But because in my personal opinion, I don't think I fucking need it, this happens. Like, obviously there's probably a better way than how I'm doing this, but you know what? It's my first get ready with me, and it's my get ready with me, and it's what I have on me, which isn't much, so whatever. Whatever. We're not looking for perfection here, there's no such thing anyway. We'll go over with peach cobbler. So for reference, this was the peach butter that I used to put on the base. And then I'm probably gonna tap into peach cobbler here, just because it's a nice orangey brown. And I mean, I have brown eyes. I'd like to enhance those a little, because they're kind of boring. Not gonna lie. For someone like me who's had brown eyes my whole life and brown hair, like, I'm the most boring looking thing ever. Ugh. Do I really want to talk about it? Because, I don't know if that's necessarily wise for someone like me. I don't really have a platform. I mean, I guess you could say I have a platform in the sense of, like, everybody has a platform. Everybody has a social media platform. Everybody can say anything at any time, and you never know how many people are actually going to look at it. Blah, 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 blah. But in the sense of popularity, I don't have a platform. When you don't have a platform, and you say things about people who do have a platform, especially a platform that's much bigger than you, not be in your best interest. Like, Tamimi recently got a whole ton of backlash for talking about the Jeffree Star situation and really calling out a lot of different YouTubers like Dustin Daily, is that his name? Dustin Daily, Blair White, a bunch of people who do get PR from Jeffree Star. And they talk about a lot of different topics. One of the things that people are tending to talk about recently all over the place that I've seen anyhow is how in the past Jeffree Star and Davi Vanity used to be really, really buddy-buddy. And like they had released music together and performed on stage and were connected in both a business and friendship light as far as me and any other person has been concerned. And I guess in the past he had said that Davi Vanity was a child predator, which I mean there's a lot of evidence to that. Like in the case of Jessie Slaughter, she's come out and talked to a couple of different YouTubers about her experience with Davi Vanity. It's interesting that Jeffree Star called out this behavior, said he wasn't going to have anything to do with this behavior, but then around a year later after making said accusations, he turned around and retracted those statements. Now, those are some really harsh statements to be making. Those are very serious statements to be making. I don't think anybody can say that they aren't. And this isn't the first time that he's made those accusations. Obviously, more recently, he made those accusations towards himself. Oh, yeah. To himself. No, he made those accusations about James Charles. And obviously, those proved to be completely and utterly false, because he came out with a very long video going through everything. And those ended up not being true. So that damages his credibility in regards to those specific types of allegations. And it also damages his credibility when it comes to any form of serious allegation, to be honest. Because if you're somebody who can just easily be like, yeah, this person's like a danger to society, and then turn around and not only be wrong about that, but also, like, from another instance, you retract your statements and work together with the person that you had made those allegations against. Yikes. Like, that just doesn't look good. That just does not look good. And, like, I don't need that one PR class that I took in college to know that. Like, that's some pretty basic shit to understand. You know what? I'm gonna go with as the main color as Peach Punch on my lid. We're gonna do that. Yeah. So anyway, it really damages his credibility in regards to those specific issues. The only time that I found that Jeffree Star tends to be consistent and not problematic is in his makeup. That's what he's good at, and that's what is something that he can be consistent with. Then that's something that he should stick with, and he shouldn't really be commenting on anything that's outside of that realm in a public way. At least in my mind, maybe that sounds too harsh, and it probably is, but in all honesty, if you're just gonna end up damaging your own credibility, like brand or status or whatever, then I don't understand why you would say anything or do anything that would do that. Unless it was like unintentional, but then that really opens up a big can of worms in that case. So we're just gonna assume that Jeffree Star knew what was going on because he was pretty close with Davi Vanity during that time, and I feel like it would be very hard not to notice if something wonky was going on. And personally, I've never bought anything of Jeffree Star's, and it's mostly just because makeup is expensive, and his makeup, he does make it more fairly priced with better ingredients. Uh-oh. Hold on, I'm gonna have to delete some footage. Like, I haven't bought anything at Jeffree Star's yet, and don't get me wrong, I want to, but it's expensive. And now with all of these things floating about him, it calls into question whether it would be worth giving him money, considering these very serious things that are going around. Now, mind you, he addressed something different that was in his most recent video talking about which products he endorses and which ones he doesn't. His usual content, I guess you could say. And I watched it because, I mean, it's good to learn about different beauty products that are out there. And I did really like that cannabis moisturizer he was talking about. But he's right, $150 for such a small bottle? Like, fuck that. Like, no way, man. Nuh-uh. You're, like, I want that moisturizer just because it seems like it would be really good for my particular skin type. But I'm not gonna pay $150 for that shit. You kidding me? So it's a good thing Jeffree Star did. Because he has that to spare. But he addressed in that particular video, somewhere in the middle, I would say, that if things, like, if very, like, dramatic things come out from the media that are arguably slanderous, come out, and then all of his family and friends and all and fans and whatever swarm him, asking him about all this stuff, he kind of is just like, if it doesn't come from my mouth, don't believe it. And it's like, that's very interesting, considering those allegations about Davi Vanity did come from your mouth. Same with the retracted statements. Now, he does back this up by saying he said a lot of stupid shit when he was younger, and this is a younger Jeffree Star that has made those tweets, but that doesn't justify that. It doesn't justify those serious allegations being said. It doesn't justify retracting those statements. That doesn't justify anything. And I don't know if he realizes that, necessarily, or if he's just trying to talk about it, but also not talk about it, if you know what I mean. Like, oh, you can't believe it unless it came out of my mouth. And it's like, yeah, but those things came out of your mouth. They came out of you on Twitter, on a social media app that's meant to communicate with other people. So, and you, like, put him on blast, and then all of a sudden you guys were buddy-buddy again. So it's like, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Doesn't seem like it's really explaining how, like, it doesn't seem, like, it doesn't seem like it's really explaining, wow, you can actually see her in the corner. Oh my gosh. But it doesn't explain anything. Like, I don't know, it just, I know he wasn't talking about the Davi Vanity situation specifically in that part of his video. He was talking about how, like, apparently he doesn't care about quarantine, which obviously he does. He's taking care of his employees incredibly well. He's taking care of his family. He's even gone out and started taking care of his fans as best as he can. So, like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, you're a good person, because you're donating your money, you're donating your time, you're really trying to help everybody in this time of need, which is really great. However, when it comes to CEOs and businesses and anything in regards to making money, there's always a catch. And if you don't think there's a catch, you're naive, because there is. And that catch is that this could just be a PR move. It could be a PR move to try and shuffle all these recent allegations that have, in regards to Davi Vanity. You can put that in the back of they can just shuffle that all the way back into people's minds so they forget about it. It can also really change people's perspectives and be like, oh, well, you can't be such a bad person if you're doing all of these wonderful things. And it's like, really? Are you that stupid? Like, people can do good things and still be terrible as fuck people overall. Like, honestly, it's true. There's a bit of good and bad in everybody. It's a whole yin-yang situation. Like, if you know anything about the yin-yang symbol, that's basically the symbol of life, baby. Like, that's what it is. You have the good and the bad, and there's bad and the good, and there's good and the bad. Like, but again, despite that, that doesn't necessarily mean that what he did in the past or how he's handling it now is healthy for him, for the victims, for really anyone that's involved. And it's more like it would be a better form of transparency and a better PR move, arguably, for him to just come out and explain. You know? It would just be best for him to come out and explain. And if it turns out that that wouldn't necessarily be a good idea for one reason or another, maybe he should be rethinking his choices. Whatever those choices may be. But that is something concerning. Oh man, and of course I talk about the two things I really wanted to talk about. And I'm not even fucking done. I am like halfway down my eyes. Oh, I know, I can talk about Animal Crossing. I've been a huge Animal Crossing fan since it first came out on GameCube here in North America. Some things that people don't like about Animal Crossing, or don't enjoy about the Animal Crossing community, are people who time travel. Now, myself personally, I was trying really hard to not time travel on my file. I was trying to take it day by day. Eventually it came to a point where I wasn't playing Animal Crossing until like really late at night, so then I would time travel to the next day because, well, I didn't want to play while everything and everyone was asleep or closed. So, and I'm also really terrible at harvesting star fragments. Like, I guess that's something I'm really fucking shitty at, is hoarding star fragments. Like, I don't know why. I guess I'm just bad at that. Like, am I just not showing up in the game at the right times? Or is it, like, what am I doing wrong here? But yeah, no, I'm just really bad at farming that shit. So I just don't, unless I really need to for whatever reason or another. Oh yeah, just so you know, I did my under eye with the peach sangria. So you can keep up with this look, I guess, if you want to. It's not really anything crazy or spectacular. It's just really fucking basic. Which, I mean, if it's your first time getting into makeup, maybe that's for the best. Because honestly, looking at having basic looks and just doing makeup in a way that's just an everyday look and not necessarily something to like fucking show off and make an art piece out of, that's not bad either. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but when I do my makeup, that's what I do. Now we're gonna get to the part that is the part that I'm still really iffy on, and if it looks like shit, that's fine. Because, like I said earlier in the video, brows have only recently come into the picture in makeup, and I've only recently started doing them, so I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm doing it right, or if it looks good or not. It just kind of is what it is, and maybe I'll figure out a better way of doing it for myself. I don't know. But this is how I do it. So we're dipping into chocolate dipped, just because that's a dark enough shade that tends to reflect my hair color on this side, which this is going to be shaved off eventually. But we're in self-isolation and my boyfriend's at work, so he's not here to help me shave my head. Like, everyone's gone up in arms about time traveling, and it's like, you know what, just play the game however the fuck you want to. Like, it's a calm, relaxing game, and for the most part, the community is actually really good, and people aren't pieces of shit. Generally. Does that look good? Hopefully it does. To me it looks good, but I don't know, other people might be like, oh my god, disgusting, and it's like, okay. But to me it looks fine. Bitch. So, like, people get up in arms about time traveling, about not time traveling, and it's just like, guys, play the game however the fuck you want. That's the whole point. Like, it's a very relaxing simulation game. The main part of the game is you just farm for bells and pay off your loans until you upgrade everything to where you want it to be upgraded until you can't upgrade anymore. That's literally the game. Like, there's not anything too fantastic or special about it, to be honest. It's the only thing that makes it special is the fact that it's cute, wholesome, and for the most part, it's incredibly positive. So why are people taking such a wholesome and positive game and turning it into a way to attack each other? Like, why? I don't get it. Calm the fuck down, people. Are your lives that miserable where you need to make other people miserable? Just a thought. I still have a little bit to go. What else can I say? What kinds of highlighter do I want to use? I have way too many. Okay, when I say I have way too many, that's not actually true. I have a palette of highlighters that my best friend gave to me, which is by Revolution, which I don't know exactly how high brand that is. I don't think it's super, but I don't care. I also have, oh, if I could find it. Yeah, the Becca Bronzed Bondi. I also have that, and that came, like, in a little, obviously it's a little worn down, but it came into, like, it came in, like, a pack that I got from a rewards thing from Sephora again, I think. I don't know. Or, like, one of those, like, really small sample packs that they sell that are, like, a small version of, like, the product so that you can kind of, like, try it, see if you like it, whatever. But yeah, I've got the Becca Bronzed Bondi, which I do like. Gives me more of a colored look without that sounding bad, because I know that there's a lot of white people who are blackfishing, like Nikita Dragon is accused of that, which I'm not 100% sure if that's really what she's doing. Like, I know that Asians tend to be, I think she's Asian. Anyway, I think she's Asian. I don't actually know for sure. So from the assumption that she is Asian, Asian people do have darker skin. So I don't know if I don't know about the blackfishing. I do see where people are coming from that in regards to, like, particular hairstyles that she decides to pick. But with her, it's kind of, I don't know enough about her, because again, I'm not a fan, to really say if that's what she's doing. But with Bad Baby, that's a lot more, that's definitely that's definitely blackfishing. And the way that I say, but it's not blackfishing in the sense of, like, actually trying to fit into the black culture and the black community. It's more, even though that's not what blackfishing means anyway, but she's not trying to be black in the sense of being in the community and, like, trying to insert herself into that. That's not what she's doing. She's inserting herself into a stereotype without her really seeming to realize that that's what she's doing. Like, she specifically goes for, like, she specifically said that she was more going for an urban look. And, I mean, isn't that technically a term, being like you're basically trying to be black without being black? Like, isn't that basically what that means? Except you're basically being the stereotypes of everybody that's black, like trying to talk like a stereotype of a black person, trying to act like a hoodlum, trying to be this badass bitch, even though you're like a 16-year-old that got famous off of Dr. Phil, who's not even actually a properly licensed anything anymore, and hasn't been for, like, years. He's just, like, a TV celebrity who puts on these problematic people and blasts them, and then, in Bad Baby's case, makes them famous for no damn good reason. Like, okay. But yeah, no, I can see with her how it's blackfishing. Now, this highlighter that I have is also by Becca, but it's called Champagne Pop. And, I mean, I suppose I can show you the insides. Like, this one is very dark, as you can see, whereas this one is quite a bit lighter, but still kind of dark. But either way, like, they both are just a highlighter that just gently highlight your cheeks. Now, I think that's the only highlighters I have. Yes, they are. Now, there's also the question of, do I put eyeliner on? Now, I have 3 different kinds of eyeliner. Now, I've got the Fenty Beauty Fly Liner, which is honestly awesome, except for the fact that my oily eyelids make this spread fucking everywhere. Great! Because this wasn't at all pricey. No, not at all. And I'm pretty sure that one is either starting to run out or it's just stopped working. I don't know. And now I have this one, which is by Marc Jacobs, which was still expensive, but I think more reasonably priced than the Fenty one. Honestly, don't ask me. It's been a long... I've had these products for so long. And this one's called Marigold. And I honestly really like how it looks. Like if I was just to do... So this is... Oh shit, wow. Okay, let me try and focus that. That's what it looks like on the end there. So it's a nice orange. But if I was to like do like a swatch on my hand here and give you a close-up, oh god, if I can, then that's kind of what it looks like, you see? And I honestly really like it with the Too Faced palette that I have because it just matches the colors really well, at least in my mind. I don't know if I want to go with that one or if I want to go with the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Eyeliner that I have. Because I kind of really like this, and I like the sparkles, and it's looking pretty matte, and I kind of want something to pop, make it pop, but isn't necessarily... Do I want the shimmer or do I want the sparkle? That's the thing, is like these have two different ways of how they wanna function. It's either gonna be shimmery, like this one, or it's gonna be sparkly. I don't know which one I want. So yeah, I understand why Bad Baby would be blackfishing, but I think with Nikita Dragun, with what I do know, which for full transparency is very minimal, I don't necessarily think that is what's happening. I do recognize, however, that she really does not like bi men. Like, I guess she finds them gross. And honestly, fuck you for that. I am a bisexual, non-binary individual, and just, you know, fuck you. Just fuck you for that. Bi men are just as valid as anyone else who identifies as being bisexual. Just gonna fan that out, even though I look stupid doing that. But yeah, like, the fact that she just won't date a guy because he's been with other guys, even though, like, we all know she's a male to female transition. Like, okay, if it has something to do with the fact that you used to be a guy and you don't want to be misinterpreted as a guy, okay, but honey, nobody's gonna misinterpret you for being a guy. You look way too much like a fucking woman because of all the surgeries you've had. Like, come on. Nobody's gonna do that to you. You're doing that to yourself. You're just being dumb and insecure and putting that on other people who honestly don't deserve that. Sparkles everywhere. Oftentimes with this particular product, if I don't dry it by fanning it like this, you'll see it, but it'll like go onto, it'll like stamp itself onto my, whatever that's called. I don't know if you can see it, but it'll stamp itself up here and it'll look exactly like how I put it on my lid, and it'll just stamp itself up there and look, and just put the sparkles there, and it's like, well, okay, this is my life now. I think that in regards to being disgusted by men, I don't think that that's a valid opinion or preference or whatever. I don't think that's valid. And you know, that's my opinion. That's just how it is. And I mean, if you don't like them anyway, then don't go on dates with them. Haha. And like, don't go on dates to find a boyfriend or clout or your weird Snapchat show or whatever. Like, that just looks desperate and it looks stupid and it's obviously scripted, and we're not all of us are a bunch of 10-year-old idiots who don't know how the world works yet. A lot of us are able to see through that shit, so I don't know why you're fucking bothering. Like, really, why? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. You're just making yourself look like a stupid hoe. Mind you, Morgan Adams, when she did her video about doing like a first date and recording it and everything, that was a whole different thing. First of all, I'm pretty sure she, like, I don't know anything about her in regards to like personally or anything, obviously. She did it in a very tasteful manner. But That's because Morgan Adams is a tasteful person and is not a disrespectful piece of shit. Go figure. Because if you go and you look at that video, and then you go and you look at the Snapchat series that Nikita Dragon did, and if you don't want to give her the views, go watch, oh shit, what was his name? Luke Alexander? I'll link it in the description. Go watch his video where he does a whole reaction thing on it, because that's how I got introduced to it myself, personally. If you look at the differences, I may be comparing apples to oranges in this sense, in this case, and you know what, call me out if I am, because it's a possibility. But when you look at the production of both of those videos side by side, you'll notice, because it's flat out obvious, that one was done with just Morgan being in, like, just Morgan dealing with the camera, or Morgan and someone that she's closely affiliated with, and like the guy that she's having as a first date. So it's very minimal, it's very personable, she's able to edit the footage exactly how she wants to present herself to be. Now with Nikita Dragon's Snapchat series, she's putting all of the editing and production in somebody else's hands so that they can pretty much create whatever narrative they want out of the footage that they have. So that's something to take into consideration. There's also the fact that because it's a bigger company and a bigger production value and things like that, there's going to be scripting. Whereas with Morgan's video, there wasn't any scripting. It was all off, like, all on the fly. And if it wasn't, then, well, shit, she's a really good actress. And I think that really goes to show, like, who's actually being genuine and who's not. Potentially. And it's also showing, and it also goes to show, like, how larger production companies are more likely to paint you in a negative light just to get the views that they're looking to get, versus making sure that you are somebody that can consistently and stay credible to your fan base, and be able to keep your credibility, be able to keep your character that is being shown to everyone as, like, transparent and honest as possible. So, I don't know. It just seems weird. And now, all I have left is to choose my highlighter, put my mascara on, and then figure out a lipstick. This is taking forever. This is so much footage I'm gonna have to edit through. Jesus. I kind of hate myself for doing this. We're gonna do Rose Gold Kiss. So that would be this one right here. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put that on my face, and honestly, I just don't... Like, this highlighter is okay. I don't know, it feels cakey when I apply it. The few times that I've tried it, it feels kind of cakey. And it looks kind of cakey. So, it's kind of just one of those things that I have and I'll use until it's gone, or until it expires, whichever comes first. Probably the expiry. Sorry, best friend. Yeah, it just looks like I put chalk on my cheeks. Can't say I recommend it. That's what I put on, I'm not taking it off. Oh yeah, and then don't get me started on other problematic YouTubers that are currently going around. Like Trisha Paytas. Dear Lord. I don't know how that woman got popular. I don't know how she still continues to be popular, quite honestly. And she's just an internet troll that somehow manages to make money off that. I don't know. I really don't understand the state of social media nowadays, especially in regards to YouTube. Like, YouTube used to be a much better platform than it is. Before money ever got involved, YouTube was very beautiful, creative, fun-loving, and from my understanding, very little people were negative to each other. But now there's clout chasing. Now there's just being mean for the sake of entertainment. Now they're like it's turned into a massive shit show. And even now, as I've been going through my whole, like, get ready with me, I've mostly just been talking about a lot of negative things that have been going on in the YouTube sphere, and that's because that's all there really is to talk about from what I've seen on my own 500 plus channels that I'm subscribed to. And I wish I was exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. I'm subscribed to over 500 channels. Most of which are probably dead channels at this point, but still. And like, I don't know. Oh god. Oops. That's something I've been struggling with this particular kind of mascara, is that the filter isn't quite working for the brush for some reason. Is it because of how I'm pulling it out? Like, look at that. It's so gunked up. Like, look how gunked that is. Like, usually it'll just filter itself out, but I don't know what happened. It just... The filter is just not... has not been cooperating with me for a while. Oh, here we go. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because the filter keeps coming off with this part of the lid. That might be what's happening. Well, as long as I do my best, right? But yeah, there's just been so much negativity on the platform, and that there's all that there is to report on because, or talk about, because that's all that anybody is talking about. It's just a whole bunch of negative things, and it's like, sometimes I really miss the good old days, you know? Back when commentary channels didn't exist. Don't get me wrong, there's some really good ones, like The Right Opinion, Jay Aubrey, Primic, and others, but, like, and Edwin's Generation. And I like Tamimi. Like, there's a lot of commentary channels that I watch that I do like. But for the most part, like, I remember when commentary channels didn't exist yet, and it was just, like, people who were vlogging and just making really creative, interesting stuff. Like, I remember when Tessa Violet used to go by Mika Kitty and was doing all these lip sync videos that were really fun and creative. And I remember when Dodie was doing way more vlogs than she does now because she values her privacy a lot more than she did in the past. The family vloggers were not abusive yet. And like earlier in the video I mentioned like the guy that made the Mean Kitty song. Like all of those people, they were very wholesome when it was back in an older version, an older stage of YouTube. Those people were really good. And now, well, now things are different. And a lot of people miss the old YouTube because of that. Including myself. I can't say that I'm not included in that. Obviously I am. I'm here fucking complaining about it. Okay, so now I just have the lips. And I'm obviously, I'm really tempted to just go with a nice bright red. Like what I have here. And this is Fenty Beauty's Uncensored. Quite fitting, actually, for this video, considering I'm not really censoring myself. Maybe I'll go with that. I also just I really love this lipstick formula. Like, I don't know how Rihanna made this so damn perfect, but she did. She made this, she did an amazing job with this. Once it dries, it stays on. Like, it stays on, and it doesn't come off. And unless you're, like, touching your lips to something that's that's quite warm, like, let's say, like, a cup of tea or something like that, then this will come off a little bit, but it's not, like, a glob of it that just, like, comes off and then you, like, have, like, this massive part of your lip that's missing color. No, it's, like, quite mild. So I really, like, I stand behind this. Like, Fenty Beauty. Love it. If I could buy more of Rihanna's products, honestly, I would. And that's just because, like, oh, man, and her diamond highlighter. Oh, I tried it on at the store in Sephora back before this pandemic had ever hit and was ever even a thought. And oh my god, it was amazing. And I want it. But it's like $50. It's $50 for the fucking highlighter. Why? Probably because the formula is so good, but like, god. Like, come on. I'm not that rich. I'm not fucking bad girl Riri rich. Now, I will say that if you have shaky hands, this brush end, if I can get this to focus on it, this brush end is not the easiest to work with if you have shaky hands like I do, and the formula really is very liquidy, like it really spreads. So if you have shaky hands like me, it's probably not going to be the easiest product to use. But somehow, I made this look okay. And this is my face. And that's my Get Ready With Me! I've kind of been all over the place with what I've been talking about. Mostly a bunch of YouTube stuff. I can take my hair out now. Oh, that feels better, especially since I don't really want it to dry that way. I like my curls. Even though they're practically non-existent now because of the fact that I matured. And you know what? Sometimes when you grow up and your hormones calm down, it makes it so that your hair is not quite the same that it used to be. Pregnancy does that to you too, apparently, from what I've heard, but I've never been pregnant, thank fuck for that. Let's not jinx that shit. Where's some wood? Goddamn. Hey, knocked down wood. So the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this Lanza Healing Hair Care. We're gonna take that with a grain of salt. And it says healing style. Ooh. But it's mostly, it creates tousles, windswept hairstyles with natural waves and separation. And it's at a control level of 5. So it's basically just like a beach spray to try and get your hair to look more curly and not as straight as this fucking nonsense. Because I did not grow up with straight hair. I grew up with incredibly curly ringlet hair. And like the spray part, I don't know why, but it broke. So I have to actually use my hands and spread it. Not as evenly as what the sprayer probably would do. It's a very sticky formula when it's on your hands. So yeah, I'm just gonna like run that through. My hair is like in between half dry and half damp because it's really thick. Gonna scrunch it, make sure it takes to it. And I always let my hair dry naturally. I never blow dry it really. Like, I do have a blow dryer that has a type of head on it that allows it to curl the hair, but I'm just not gonna bother. My fingers and this product in air drying can likely do well enough. Now, obviously this needs to dry, and when I first take a shower the first day, as you can see, my hair is like a frizzy fucking disaster. So, the next day, it won't be so frizzy, but for today, it's gonna be a frizz ball, because that's just what happens after I get out of the shower. So, yeah, that's my Get Ready With Me, and let me know if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said in the comments down below if you see this video, just so that I know that, hey, it's not just me looking at this footage. And I'll probably make the video that I was talking about in my last video a little bit later, where I'm gonna be talking to my future self instead of just my past self. So I'll do that at some point, and yeah, hopefully you're gonna have a great day today, despite being stuck indoors. Okay, bye!